Okay, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat. It has been a while. So I just wanted to do a video because I actually got an opportunity that I can be doing this to just maybe kind of tell you a little bit of what's going on, not in great detail because some of it involves other people, and so to protect their privacy, they didn't tell me I could put all their stuff out on the internet. So, but just to let you know that all is well. I'm doing okay, hanging in there, going through some, I won't say a rough patch, but I will say it's challenging right now. And I actually ended up with an opportunity. First off, you guys have, when I tell you it's hard to find the time and the place and the opportunity to make a video, I'm not kidding. I washed my hair this morning, and I think that little loose ones start to fall out. I'm going to be bald one day. I hope not. But, yeah, so they're like getting on me and tickling my face. You're going to hear a dog in the background. Typical. Got old Samson in here with me today. He usually is. He stays pretty close to me. But I'm going to just kind of let you know a little bit of what's going on. But, like I said, when things get hectic around here, I mean, that's like a normal thing. I've got multiple dogs and a grandson that, even though he's in his 20s, he's noisy. He is very noisy. Anyway, there is so much activity in our house, so much noise at times, trying to just find that peaceful calm that we used to have. Is very challenging. And so right now, the guys are out. I've got so much to tell you guys. I'm going to hopefully see if I can't in the next few days, because they're going to be out busy at different periods of time, which helps quiet the house down. I fed the dogs. They're all chilling and taking a nap now with their full bellies, and except for Samson, who's hanging out with me. And so, everybody's just kind of, and the guys are gone, so it's quiet. And so I was like, okay, I've got to make it a priority to get into the office and, in my little office area here, my little prayer room. See, these are all my scriptures and prayers and stuff on the walls. But to get in here and just try to just share a couple things with you guys, and then hopefully maybe I can make some other little videos to schedule to come up, the next few days, so that there's some stuff here. First off, because I know some people get upset with me when I don't, you used to do a video every day, where are you? And this time it's been over a month. And they just get upset. Well, because I'm supposed to be putting content out every day, they're looking for it. They need it. But I don't know. I don't. There's some things about this that, with people that I just, like people that just want to criticize, just try to find fault, and they're trying to tear you down. Like, what is the deal? The trolls, what is the deal with that? I mean, is there nothing better to do in life? I don't know. But you're going to have to forgive me too, because I'm a little foggy in my head, and I'll kind of sort of explain that here in a minute. But there's just a lot of stuff going on and dealing with it. And I am not, the purpose of my channel is not to build this big channel and have 1 million followers and make a bunch of money and, and just be a YouTuber. That's not it at all. I'm just an ordinary, simple woman, old woman, that when a friend of mine passed away who was several years younger than I am, it was very shocking, very, very unexpected. But when they did his celebration of life, it truly was a celebration of life. I've been to some celebrations of lives that were that's just a new thing to call the funeral. But his was a celebration of life, and even more than celebrating his life, his celebration of life celebrated the Lord. it celebrated Jesus, and and it impacted me. I live far away from most of my friends and family anymore, 3,000 miles, and so a lot of things they do post. They broadcast it live, on YouTube, and so when Tim passed away, I was able to, watch it live, and just, I mean, it was wonderful because it, just stirring up my own memories with Tim, because I go back with Tim. He was like 14 when I first met him. He was just a kid. I wasn't. I was older than him. My husband and I were married. We had a baby, and, he was actually one of my brother-in-laws, my husband's younger brother. He was one of of his friends. And so anyway, but Tim had such a love for Jesus, and he was a worshiper, a worship leader that, like, pure from the heart. It wasn't about performing. It wasn't about, everything being just so, but it just, I loved when Tim would lead worship, because he had this knack of really taking you into the throne room of God. And so anyway, as I'm watching the celebration of life, and all the people sharing about how Tim impacted their lives for the Lord, it really, that's who he was, and he wasn't perfect, I always have to come back that, and I'm sure his wife will tell you that he wasn't perfect, but he was a good man of God, and I will always cherish him as just one of those little brothers in the Lord. But listening to the things and how Tim had impacted people's lives, and then seeing his children that are now grown with children of their own, they did his service, and his one daughter, she gave the message and did an awesome job. And they ended the service. Those of you who don't like emotional women, either suck it up and hold your breath, or go to another channel, because I can't. I'm very emotional these days anyway, but all three of his children and their spouses stood at the altar of that church, which was the church that Tim had grown up in, and they invited people to come give their lives to the Lord if anybody wanted to, because nothing would have honored their father more. And I was just overcome by the legacy that Tim left. And, that's what, when I pass away, there probably won't be any service or anything, just because of how life is, okay? And that's fine. But if there was a service, I would want the witness of my life to be that of people not just sharing the funny little stories or whatever, or, oh, she was such a good friend. I don't even care about that part. But the impact that there was in their lives for the Lord because of having known me. That's what I really want. And to have, his 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, stood there. If my 2 daughters and my son were to stand there at the altar with their spouses, ready to pray with anybody that wanted to give their heart to the Lord, I mean, I can't think of anything greater, and nothing would honor me more. But as life is, that's probably not what's going to happen, and that's okay. I've always had to adapt, and life has seldom gone the way I thought, or like other people's typical lives. So but anyway, that impacted me hugely. And it was right after that Coffee and a Chat was born, because I am 3,000 miles away, and I do have, especially if you go back and read, you don't have to read, you can just watch, but watch my earlier videos and some of the stories of the miraculous things that God has done in my life. And as I was actually, I guess, playing catch up there to catch everybody up to where I am now, but just being able to leave those stories so that my kids and my grandkids could go back, could watch them, could see them, could know, could remember, or even learn something new for something they weren't there for or whatever. But I wanted to leave that legacy. And then a bunch of you guys that I didn't even know existed jumped on the channel, and I realized that it could be something more, something even bigger. And so in the first year, I was able to keep a video every day, and then, life started to happen, and sometimes I'd miss a day or two, but I still kept giving it my all. And my heart's still there to give it my all. It's just I don't necessarily have a lot of opportunity right now because life's happening. And I know people that their life is YouTube, and that is how they make their living. And they have a camera with them all the time. They don't go on vacation or out to dinner or anything without taking the rest of us along. And they need to, in order to build a business out of it and have an income. That's not my purpose. And I know some people get upset when I say that because, well, you could do this and it would be so good and be a way for the Lord to take care of you. And you, Marvin, could use the help or whatever. I'm just not interested. It's like, this last year, we just got our taxes done, and I'll probably share a little bit about that either in this video or another one. Not about the taxes, just the experience of going to do it. But when I gave him all our receipts, I had no donation receipts. And he's like, now there were some that should have been there, some ministries that we did send checks to over, and for whatever reason, we never got receipts this year. I don't know, but I don't care. But anyway, he was like, where's your receipts? Because I usually have a lot of receipts, for our donations part. And I had nothing this year. But this last year, Marvin and we gave a lot of our giving. We just did it in cash, anonymously whenever we could. Not worried about getting credit for it and getting a receipt. Just, it was our own kind of personal conviction, especially, I will say, I can speak for myself, very much a conviction for me of not letting the left hand know what the right hand's doing or whatever. But I don't give to a ministry, to a church, or to help somebody in need because I want credit and a deduction on my taxes. I do it out of obedience to the Lord because I love him, because I love the people around me, because I love to serve the Lord, and it's my way of telling God thank you by giving a portion back in his name. And so this last year we were a lot more purposeful about doing that. And I'm not saying you should at all. I'm not saying it's wrong to get a donation receipt or anything like that. I'm just saying for us, where our growth is and what God was doing in our lives, I think we'll probably stick with the cash donations anonymous when possible. And just following the lead of the Lord, because it's more than just giving at church, okay? It's expanded way beyond that for us. And so anyway, YouTube's kind of that way for me. It's not about trying to get credit for anything. It's simply, it started being wanting to share my legacy of what the Lord's done in my life. But it's become a place where I can reach out to people in other countries even. I mean, people from around the world, have watched my channel, have listened to my stories, have, left comments where it really touched them, blessed them, encouraged them, whatever. There have been people who have actually been, I want this Jesus that you have, and have given their lives to him as a result. That's what matters. I mean, there's no check YouTube could ever give me with, I don't care how many digits there are in it that would ever even come close to that. That's what it's about for me, okay? And so I don't carry a camera with me everywhere. I don't even know how to edit videos. I could learn, there's a lot of things I could do, but it just hasn't been important. Sharing with you, that's what's been important. And just making a video for the sake of making a video and just sharing something, I tried it. and I deleted all of them. It's not the same. So when I come to share with you, I want to come with a sincerity and an authenticity that you can feel and know and see that I have no purpose other than to just share with you what God's doing in my life. So now, with all of that, that's the purpose of my channel, right? Where have I been? Well, I'll just tell you, my health has not been good. It's not been beyond horrible or anything, but it is very challenging right now, and I'm doing all kinds of interesting things because those of you that know me know I don't do traditional medicine and pills or anything. I won't say that I never do. I used to all the time, but I was always at the doctor and I took all these medications and everything. But when I lost my insurance and couldn't go to the doctor anymore and quit taking medication because I couldn't afford it and couldn't get the prescriptions because I couldn't afford to go to the doctor, blah, 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 I actually got better. And then, I really, which is something I've been interested in since I was a little girl, I just delved more into natural medicine and what I can do for myself and what God produces around me. And I already see last year it was purple dead nettle that came up massively. And so I knew, okay, that's what I'm going to need, and so I harvested a lot of that as well as other things, but I made sure I harvested a lot because my body was going to need it. This year, it looks like it's going to be a chickweed year. So I'm going to be harvesting a lot of chickweed this year and drying it for the year because I'm going to need it. And, and I've been for about 13 years now, just pretty much more all natural. So I don't run to the doctor about any, every little thing. I don't run to the doctor. And some people get upset about that, and that's fine. Just, if you want to go to the doctor, I'm good with that. If you don't want to go to the doctor, I'm good with that. I think we each should be able to do what the conviction of our heart is, and the Lord's been sufficient for me. And he's not told me to go anywhere or do anything. In fact, on some of this stuff, quite the opposite. And I get it. I understand why. And so I'm doing all kinds of things to try to be better, to get healthier, and and we'll see. The Lord is. I have found some things that are making things better, and I wasn't able to do it for the last 2 days, and I started going downhill. So today I should be able to go ahead and do it again. It has to do with me being outside, and the weather was such that I couldn't be outside doing this particular thing. So anyway, yeah, don't you just, I know, now I've got all those trolls. Why are you always so vague? Why don't you, because I'm not trying to tell anybody else what to do, and I don't even know how it's really working for me yet. And if it really turns out good and really helps me, then I'll probably share it with you and tell you what it is. But I'm not trying get people to go out and do crazy things, because some of the things I do can sometimes seem a little on the crazy side, but hey, if it works. All right. So my health has been an issue, and some days my energy has been so low that I can't even have not been able to carry on a normal conversation. Then also on this, I'll tell you right now, my emotions are just on the brink all the time right now. So I'm trying to hold it back. But this one, I do have a very close family member who is very, very dangerously ill. And it's very serious. And that is definitely having an effect on me. And takes up time that, even just to be there to talk to them, to listen. There's nothing else I can be doing right now. And we're too far away for me to do any hands-on. And, and that's an issue because this is somebody that I would like to be with during this time, but God has given me a great peace. And just depending on how things go, is whether or not I need to travel to go see them or not. And me making that trip is pretty iffy, pretty risky. So just waiting on the Lord. And right now everything, is just kind of in a holding pattern. So that's okay. What else? I'm probably going to watch this back and go, oh, Angie, it doesn't even make sense. Because I am, in all honesty, I'm very overwhelmed. Yesterday, Marvin, when he took our grandson to work, and it wasn't because he took him to work or anything like that. It wasn't planned or like I was waiting for it or anything. But they had hardly driven out of our driveway, and I just started bawling and crying. So I just needed that. And I've had probably about 3 days in a row that I've been doing a lot of crying because there's a lot. I do trust God to take care of the situation, but we have our idea of what we want him to do, and then there's the right thing that sometimes isn't what we want, but it's the right thing, and God has final say, and I've turned this loved one into his hands, and I'm trusting him with them, but I don't know how things are going to go, and there's a lot of questions in the air. There's even frustration of, they have some of the best doctors there are, but it still feels like they're in some ways falling between the cracks or whatever. And that's hard because it's not their loved one. It's my loved one. So I view it that my loved one should be the top priority. But anyway, so there are some challenges going on. And then just our day-to-day, Marvin and I live, I always used to say, somewhere between Little House on the Prairie and the Waltons. We do a lot of self-sustaining, self-sufficient, that's how we survive on a very low income and carry no debt. But, still just trying to get through things. There's a lot of things that we have to do physical labor for that other people pay somebody else to do it or get something different. I saw the other day someone was showing me their pantry, and it's a very full pantry of all the different cans and boxes of food that you get from the store. That's how they do it, and they open the cans and throw it together, and there's dinner. And and my pantry is, we planted the seed, we grew the plant, we nurtured it, harvested the fruit off of it, canned it, put it in a mason jar, canned, and and it's stored in the pantry. And so their pantry is filled by going to the grocery store. My pantry, like that, gets filled by doing the labor. And, and it's not that one way is right and the other way is wrong or anything. That's just how Marvin and I chose to live. And we know, with the health issues I'm having right now, if I just went with food from the grocery store and stuff, which right now there's a lot because we didn't get to have a garden last year. And so my pantry is almost empty of my canned goods, but hopefully that'll be corrected this year. And that might be why some of my health is the way it is because I'm eating more out of the grocery store. Just telling you, when I eat out of my garden, I don't have near the health issues that I do when I eat out of the grocery store, just how it is. So anyway, lots going on. I'm not going to just make a video for the sake of a video, or if it's so noisy in here and, that it's interfering, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go yell at everybody in the house and tell them they have to shut up so I can do a video. I'm just being me, and I know that the Lord makes a way when I need to, when he's got something for me to say. And so that's where we're at. So I'm going to make some other videos because I need to catch up on all kinds of things. I mean, we had a blizzard. We had weather where it was 80 something degrees one day, and the next day the temperatures dropped by more than 50 degrees, and we had snow. I mean, it's been all over the place. But Marvin and our grandson right now are out helping a friend because there has been a lot of damage, especially of trees down and stuff. And so they're helping a friend of ours that needs some stuff cleaned off their land. And so they're out there doing that this morning. And that's what's giving me a little bit of peace and quiet. And when they come back, then it'll be time for our grandson to go to work. So he works nights, and I don't even know how he does it. But anyway, so they will be off again, and so I might be able to get a couple of videos in, not as long as this one's turning out, but I may be able to do that today. And then they've got some other days that they're going to be out, not just helping other people, but we had structures go down and stuff too. So we've got some massive cleanup that we're doing on our place as well, which I also am busy with. So because my greenhouse was crushed to smithereens. And so that's something that I can do a lot of because I'm limited in what I can do. And so I told Marvin to deal with this other one that's a bigger deal, and the contents of that structure, some of them are just going to end up going to the dump. I'm sure that they're ruined. And then there's other things that what can be salvaged, it's got to be stored somewhere else or whatever. And it's a lot more work, a lot heavier stuff. What I've got is, I can do it. So I just do a little bit each day. And one day it'll all be cleaned up. So anyway, yesterday we went and had our taxes done. And I love, I'm going to share this one thing with you because I want to show you this picture I got. So, I don't love to have my taxes done, but I love to go get my taxes done because we have just developed this wonderful once a year relationship with our tax guy and his wife. And just lovely people, love the Lord. And we always have the most wonderful conversations and time of sharing, and just, it's just wonderful. So yesterday they have just built a new house, and so we were in their new little office in their house and stuff. And then she said, "Hey, come with me. I want to show you the house." So I went with her, and and it's lovely. It's everything brand new. It's beautiful. It's huge. Marvin and I don't need, we've got too much square footage where we're at. So we could live much smaller, and I would love to live much smaller and simplify things even more. But anyway, because I'm just looking at going, oh, and you got to clean it all. But anyhow, when we ended the tour, we ended it in her husband's study, and she goes, "Do you know what diamond painting is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. My daughter introduced me to it. I've even, done some of that." And she goes, "Well, she does that." And then she's got these notebooks that have all these pictures in it that she's done. She goes, "Go through them, and then you pick one for you." And so I'm going through, and and there was some beautiful ones with Jesus, and and there were beautiful ones with flowers and sunsets, and there's just some gorgeous ones. But then there was this one, and I paused on it because I knew this is the one. And she said, "Oh, I didn't know how I felt about that when I first saw it," because she goes, "I didn't know what it was." And so that's why I'm hoping you can see what it is, because it's one of those you kind of need to stand back from it to really get it. But it was a no-brainer. This is the one that is for me, because this is the story of my life. So let's see can you see what it, oh yeah, I think it looks pretty good on camera there. That it's Peter, it's his arm where he went under the water when he was walking on water, and Jesus reaching down to pull him up. And I'm like, this is the, it just blessed me so. I go, there are so many times in my life when I've been going along fine, and then I have taken my eyes off of Jesus and started focusing on the situation or the circumstances at hand. And it, without fail, it's like pulls me under, and I start to sink and feel like I'm not going to make it. But also, without fail, God grabs hold of me and pulls me up and restores me to a better place than I was before. So, so this is going to be framed and hung in our home with, in a very, we'll find the right place, but a very special place. But this, I even want to put a plaque on it, says the story of my life. But when I saw it, because I'm going through a lot of stuff right now, going through a storm, going through a season, but God's got me, and He's got those that I love that are at risk right now. He's got all of us. He loves us. And, we were there because, their whole place is new construction. Well, one of the things that they had done when they were putting the house up was they had the people of their church come over, and they gave them all Sharpies, and they wrote scriptures for them on the studs inside the walls before they put the drywall up. And so all throughout their house, they have all these scriptures behind their walls. And so they go, you need to put something on our wall. So they've got this wall in the office okay, let's see. There's a cat out there, and that unnerves him. So it's all right, baby. Good boy. So he's one of my watchdogs. He lets me know if a leaf blows by. He lets me know. So any movement. Anyway, they're putting wainscoting on this wall, and they hadn't put it up yet. So he had me right behind where that will go. And he goes, put a scripture up there that means something. And, and he had Marvin, which Marvin had me write it for him because he thinks I'm his secretary. I don't know what that's about. But I was like, Lord, give me the right scripture. And I immediately went to Psalm 139 and I think it's verses 5 and 6. Not positive. But I asked her, do you have a Bible that I can borrow? And they're like, they start laughing like, do we have a Bible? It's like asking me, do you have a Bible? Yeah, I've got about 150 Bibles. So which one do you want? And that's what she was doing. Which translation do you want? What, I'm like, I don't even care. Just, and so the first Bible she brought to me, I opened it up. I think it was an NIV. And I went because I wanted to know which verses it was and to make sure I got it right. But it's in there in Psalm 139 where it says that God, he saw me when I was formed in the depths of the earth. He saw my unformed substance while I was still in my mother's womb, and it goes, but then the part that I really love is, and he wrote them down, every one of them before they even existed, all the days that he had ordained for my life. And and I told him, 19 almost 20 years ago, this whole Psalm 139 saved my life in so many ways. God used this to literally save my life. And this portion of scripture, I go to know that before these days that I'm living in, before they ever existed, every day that I've walked this earth, every day while I was in my mother's womb, that God had set those days aside for me, that he has plans for me in those days, that he set this all up. And so no matter what comes at me, no matter what seems to threaten me, I know that God's in control, and that the enemy can't even come in and steal those days from me, that God has set them aside for me. It's not a question of if I die. It's a question of when I die. That's where it is for all of us, because we all will die at some point, but not until he says. And it is so comforting to me to know that God planned days for my life and chose them and wrote them down in his book. That's, everything that he had for me there. And that he's in control of it. And that he chose this for me, even the hard things. I have gotten into this thing lately where I am so grateful to him for the hard things because of the good that he brings out of it. And I know that there are some works he's done in my life that it took a hard thing to be able to do the good thing in me. And I praise him for that. I thank him for that. And even now, as I'm going through a very overwhelming, challenging time, I thank him for it. And already I see the good that's coming out of it. So that's just a little catch up. Am I at 100%? No, not at all. I am struggling. I am having health issues. I do have a loved one that is way worse off than I am. I do have responsibilities and stresses and pressures in life, and they have overcome my ability of being there every day to put out a YouTube video or even every week. But I imagine, as long as it is possible, I will always be here whenever I can be. And so if I have some peace and quiet that lasts a little longer, I'm going to try and turn out some more videos today, and then they'll come up in the days that follow, because God's been so busy in my life and doing so many wonderful things, and there's so much that I really would like to share with you. So we'll see what he does. All right, this video is so long that probably nobody stayed to the end, but if you did stay to the end, would you please drop in the comments and just say, I stayed, so at least I know somebody stayed to the end. It encourages me. It really does. I don't like these to go really super long, but especially when I haven't been able to talk to you in a while, got a lot to say. All right. I do love you guys, and I do hope to be talking to you again real soon, but truly only by the will of God. All right. I love you. Talk to you later.